What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the show today, as I do post new Warriors videos daily, and it helps out the show both in the short and the long term as we continue to grow throughout the season. Now, we're back at it tonight versus the Suns, and looking at it, all right, we're going to bounce back in this game. The Suns are still trying to figure themselves out, and I don't see them as much of a threat in terms of playoff viability, and I don't really anticipate they'll find their rhythm until after the new year. So I'm not too concerned. It's just what I am concerned about is the Warriors. The Warriors just let two bad games get away from them with the Bucks and the Pacers. And on top of that, the Pacers' first win in the entire season was against the Warriors. You can't be dropping games against teams that are 0-6, especially after you had a double-digit lead with 6 minutes left. So I think that is just a very big telltale sign of this Warriors team right now. But I still think they're going to bounce back because of how things are going to play out with this roster. Now, right now, we know that it's Jalen Green being guarded by, or excuse me, not Jalen Green, Devin Booker being guarded by Jimmy Butler. And I think Jimmy Butler is going to have a great time handling Devin Booker because when you really put that extra physical defense that Jimmy likes to play on Devin Booker, I feel like he collapses. Now, we know that Devin is a three-point sniper. There's no doubt about that. He's averaging, I believe, 30 or more a game, and he's been really getting it done. But again, the Suns are only 3-4, so it's not the end of the world that he's so great. The rest of the roster hasn't really been able to pick it up because they don't have it yet. They blew it up after getting rid of Beal and trading away Kevin Durant to get Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green along with those draft picks. But they still haven't figured out the entirety of their roster. They don't have a true point guard. They have a scoring guard, two scoring shooting guards. One that's the right size in Devin Booker, and the other that isn't in Jalen Green. So I just don't see how they can really find their rhythm without that true passing and scoring point guard. Now looking at it, all right, Devin Booker's hitting 51% from the field. Shooting, all right, he's not bad. Shooting 83% from the line. I do like that. They still don't have like a big rebounder. Mark Williams is going to be a problem on the boards down low, but hopefully Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond, and Jimmy give that extra hustle to get those rebounds. But what I do like is this might present an interesting opportunity for Quentin Post. Now, we both know that Quentin Post, he's not really a physical guy down in the post, ironically, but he is a good stretch big, and he's slowly proving that over and over again. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to show what he's got and creating opportunities for the players around him because he will most likely be starting this game. Now, I could see him dragging out both Mark Williams and Nick Richards to the three-point line to allow Draymond and Jimmy, as well as Kuminga to get to the post, as well as Steph not having to shoot the three and get those easy buckets from, say, the mid-range, which I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've been seeing him do that a lot more lately than just throw up those crazy threes and then magically going in. But what we do need to see for them to win is Steph just really stepping on the gas when it comes to scoring. Like right now, he's only averaging 26 a game. Now, that's okay, but in the modern high-octane offenses, you need to have at least one 30-point score because, yes, they do have guys getting a lot of double digits. They have Jimmy usually scoring in double digits. They have Steph scoring in double digits, and then Kuminga scoring in double digits with a few guys scoring in the low double digits off the bench. But they need a guy who can average 30 and go out and get that for you. Now, with Steph averaging 26, I am a little concerned if he's lost a step, or he's getting his engines revving to really boost those averages. I want to see him at least get up to, let's see, a 32-point game, a 35-point game. Give me like a 40-point game within the coming days. So we know he still got it. Now, during the preseason, he had a few of those games where he just put up the big numbers, but I haven't really seen it that much so far in the regular season. I think this has a lot to do with his team-leading 3 turnovers a game. Just his last game, he had 5 against the Pacers, and this is a starless Pacers. That game was also a game that Obi Toppin went down. So that's just more and more concerning. And they didn't have Toppin, they didn't have Halliburton, they lost Miles Turner over the summer. So this was not the same championship-level Pacers team that they had last year. So if Steph limits those turnovers, I do believe he can really lead the offense and drop 30 and maybe even 40 versus the Suns, because he's always had their number dating back to when their initial championship run in 2015. So I do see that happening. But a big problem with this game is Al Horford is out. Now, the Warriors signed Horford to be that veteran stalwart who is in the starting lineup, who does contribute like 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 22 to 25 minutes per game to go along with Quentin Post. He is a true center who stretches the floor. Now, with him out, it creates problems because they don't have that stretch big to rotate with Quentin Post. And we can't expect Quentin Post to play 30-plus minutes just yet. Yes, he is young. He is a little more athletic and versatile than Horford, but he just doesn't have that experience to know what to do in certain situations just yet. Now, he has been shooting well from 3, but it's not there yet. And I'm just concerned because out behind Horford, all we have is Trace Jackson Davis, and I do not trust him as a center. And outside of Trace Jackson Davis, Draymond is playing the 5, and I don't want to see Draymond go up against the likes of Nick Richards and Mark Williams, especially when Mark Williams is averaging 9 rebounds a game. Looking at it, he's averaging 6 on defense and about 3 on offense. So it is concerning, and I just don't want to see Draymond versus Mark Williams and Nick Richards, because they're just going to beat him down and wear him down over the course of the game. Yes, we're talking about Draymond Green here, but Draymond today isn't the Draymond of, say, 5 to 7 years ago, where he can still be that physical presence. He is what I would call he has good court vision, which does help move the ball around on offense. But on defense, I feel like he has lost a step a little bit, and it's just not going to bode well for the Dubs against a big team in the post like the Suns are. That being said, I still think it's going to play out well versus the Suns, but the Warriors do have to look at really solving this Horford problem. Yes, they like to keep him out from back-to-back games to sort of stretch him out from the playoffs, but when you're keeping him out back-to-back games to stretch him for the playoffs, it might affect your ability to get into the playoffs or even get a good seed in the playoffs. Yes, I do appreciate that you're giving Quentin Post more minutes, but you got to have some sort of relief plan for Post. Like, you can't have him out there playing like he's Wilt Chamberlain 48 minutes a game. So they need to do something about that. Luckily, I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem because of who the Suns are and how their roster is constructed. Most importantly, because of the news I found out, and that's Jalen Green is out for this game. Now, with Green out, it's pretty much leaves Devin Booker as the only viable scorer on that team. Yes, they do have other guys around them, say like Grayson Allen, who is a decent three-point shooter, to pick up some of the slack, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really conquer a team like the Warriors. And I think that's great, but I'm more curious when I watch the game tonight how that's going to affect the overall Phoenix offense and how locked down Jimmy Butler is going to be on Devin Booker. Because if Devin doesn't get his 30 at least, there is no chance that the Suns will win this game, and the Warriors should cruise to an easy victory. Not only because it's the Suns, but also because it is a home game. And the Warriors do like to end their streaks at home, especially when they're bad ones. So luckily, Jalen Green is out, and we don't have much to worry about, but I'm like, you know what? Any given Sunday, any given Tuesday, we don't know what's going to happen, and I I want to see the Warriors get this win. But the bottom line is, with this whole Horford situation, the Warriors have to address this problem in the middle. I don't know if it's going to be this week, next week, or later this month. They have to do something about their lack of big men. And if Horford's going to be only playing every other game, that's going to be a problem, because what's going to happen playoff time when you need Al Horford to be out there for every single game? It's like, oh, we stretched Horford out, so he should be good, but he's just not in rhythm because he's not playing at a consistent basis. You need players that could play at a consistent basis so they keep the rhythm going. I was watching a video or an interview with Byron Scott, and he was talking about Jordan's comments on load management, how it shouldn't be needed. And he talked about his experience not wanting to, or if he was injured, him trying to prove something to himself, or he didn't want to play, him trying to prove something to himself, not letting his teammates down. And I believe he was also talking about his time coaching, as he put it, the Knucklehead Lakers, where it was Kobe Bryant's last year, and the guys just weren't serious about playing. They loved the NBA lifestyle, but they weren't passionate about winning. One of the things he talked about was not being able to play every game. It doesn't keep you in a rhythm, and there's a lot of truth to that. There was a lot of great rhythm on those Laker teams in the 80s because everybody played, and everybody played on a consistent basis. Even when you had the bench warmers who wouldn't play, it was next man up. They were ready to go. And that's the problem with this whole Horford situation. Yes, he is old. I understand that. He is the stalwart veteran who can stretch the floor, but it's going to be hard to get him in rhythm at the end of the season when he's playing more consistent or playing more consistent minutes, and to find his rhythm with the rest of the offense. Yes, he does stretch the floor and create opportunities for Steph, but there are going to be certain plays on the offense that he's just not going to be in rhythm with, where he is going to be an essential piece of that play. And that's just going to be a problem. Now, moving forward, there are plenty of centers on the market that can be brought in to fix that hole, at least temporarily. And I know the 10-day contracts aren't going to happen until the new year, but like I said before, if DeAnthony Melton's recovery just continues to stretch longer and longer, it's time for the Dubs to cut their losses and let him go to sign another big at, say, a cheap contract to go along with Seth Curry and his signing later this month, or even trade a guy to create a roster space, because we don't need an additional player like a guard to occupy a roster spot. Like the saying goes, these open roster spots are becoming more and more valuable to the team because they need players they can actually use versus guys that clog up certain positions like they do in the backcourt. So they need to address this sooner rather than later, because if they don't address this sooner, things may get out of hand, and the Warriors could potentially lose a number of games straight. And to be honest, I want to see Steph get that additional championship. I want to see Jimmy get his first one, and I want to see Draymond get another one too. So Warriors, fix this problem so we don't have to think about it anymore, and I can stop talking about it. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, if you enjoyed the show today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you have any ideas, like new ideas, on who the Warriors could potentially sign or trade for to create a roster space to bring in a big, feel free to comment below, as I love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.